are really just going for these days. I hate to say it. Nobody's trying to fall in love anymore. Just get money and bitches. That's what makes you happy. Kudos to you. But
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Everything has really changed as far as the hip hop industry, and it keeps evolving, but it's not evolving the way that it once was, which is sad. It's really, really sad. I hate to say it. It's dying. It's dying. And there's been a lot of people that's within the industry. There was actually one rapper that was talking about it, how it's dying, and he ended up dying, which I felt he exposed quite a few people in the industry too, which I think cost him his life. I forget what his name was. He was some Memphis rapper. God, what was his name? Also, it is dying because motherfuckers are getting killed right and left. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I feel like it's a major conspiracy. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but something isn't right.
Yeah. There's a
So,
lot of that involved, and like you said with Kanye, like I saw some shit on Twitter the other day, and it's like he was talking about the sacrifices and shit. I'm like, and he started naming them, and I said, "Yo, this is nutty. This is nutty."
yeah.
And but as far as I would say, when to your point about like if hip hop doesn't get a second revival, then it will die. It will die in the on the mainstream level, but the
Oh yeah.
underground hip hop will always survive.
Oh yeah. Most
It's
definitely.
just yeah, it's just like I equate underground hip hop to uh like uh, like the Black Panthers in the fucking 60s and the 70s. It's just grassroots. It's
Yeah.
just it's grass. It's from the soil. These people are. Those cats that are in those spaces. They're operating at a level where it's just like they yeah. They've been able to maintain a living off of it, but it's for the love of the art form. So yeah, underground hip hop, like yeah, that when the dust clears and whatever happens, underground will still survive. But yeah, mainstream, I mean, it's just a circus. It's a circus, and that's the thing. It's just like once again another entertainment platform like
Mhm.
WWE. It's wrestling. It's okay, how do I you know amplify my presence, and one of the first things they do is, okay, who can I beef with, who, what
Mhm.
storyline could I come up with, and it may not even be a storyline, it may be like a legit beef, but in that realm, it's a like I said, it's a circus, and you're just the bear standing on top of the ball and like, hey, everybody, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's a lot of like this era in general. It's the clout chasing era, and it doesn't matter what platform you're on. It's a matter like you can talk about Twitch, you can talk about you know like in the movie biz, because I've seen like Martin Scorsese say, have his critical points on like, oh man, this is cinema, this isn't cinema, what is this, and it's and don't get me wrong, like there are people who are, you know probably decades into their craft, and they're expert, they put the time in, they know what they're talking about, but for the new people, and it's always the youngest, when you're fresh, it's a matter of how do I garner the most attention in the least amount of time as possible. And that ties in with the concept of instant gratification, all like people not being patient, not trusting the process, letting things, run its course. And that's why a lot of people, like as a cliff note, that's why like a lot of people don't uh I don't want to say don't survive in business, but like like little things like stocks. Like
Mhm.
you put your money in people who jump into stocks normally have this idea that they're gonna jump into a stock, they're gonna make all this money like within a 2 3 month time frame, and then they'll be able to bounce out and be rich and go do some other shit. It's
Yeah.
like no, that is a process. That is definitely a lot of trial and error,
Mhm.
and it's investing. It's not even only investing in a company, but investing in a company that you actually believe in. That's what I try to tell people who don't know shit about stocks. I like one of the first tips I give them. I'm like, hey, like just look around in your room or look around in your apartment. Think about like, okay, you got a MacBook Pro, you got an iPhone, you got an iPad, you got a pair of AirPods. It seems to me that you really invested in the Apple, and it's a company that you actually love, and you're invested into. So why won't invest in Apple? You know, uh, Even if you don't want to go into spreadsheets and their business plans or projections, and jumping into like, oh, like what their shareholders meetings, or like what those, hey, you buy a lot of Apple shit. I would say, just so you have a peace of mind and feel comfortable investing in something, hey, just invest in Apple. And this is my reason why. And it's crazy because some people don't even, it's that sense of fear is just like, oh man, I put $100 in this shit, and now they're down with their investment. They're down to like $30.
Mhm.
But that's not the point of stocks. That like it's a long term game. Now, if you want short term returns, then I suggest you educate yourself on trading, options, and jumping into that, because that's where you're really gambling. That's high risk, high reward. But if you're just buying a company, if you buying investing in ETFs and all this other shit, yeah, that is a long term play, and I always support the long term play. But with the attention spans of human beings nowadays, it's just like
Non-existent.
it's non-existent. It's just everything now, 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 now. I
Yeah.
want to be the first to do this. I want to now, 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 now. And it's just it, it it's sickening. And then you see them fizzle out all the time. You
I
just look
feel
around.
personally, I was actually watching a video. A lot of people don't know, although he's not, multi-billionaire status and whatnot, but someone who has a really good work ethic and knowledge of business now is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq
Yeah,
has been opening up all different types of ventures and businesses. And he said, what he did, he was like, if I had the resources that I have now, back then, I would have been a billionaire back then. He says because he did the research using all the technology he has now. He said the first thing he did when he finally figured out how to use the internet was he said he searched for a book and he found a book called How to Start a Business for Dummies and took off from there.
and that's amazing in itself. That like because the information is out there. You have to take the time, and that's the thing. He went through the process. He sat down. He educated himself. He
Educated
made
himself.
mistakes. He did, yeah. He made mistakes. He went through all of that shit. And people are just like, nope, this is how it's supposed to be because I apparently saw this person do it, and they said, and it's like, no, no. Everything in life that's worth having, it's a process.
I think what the issue is now, especially with how things are in just the media, everybody thinks that They just get things handed to them on a silver platter. They don't really put forth the thought process, hey, they did XYZ to do this. Granted, there are a lot of young people now who get rich from doing nothing.
Yes. Yep.
So they want that. They want the easy way. They don't want the put in forth the work or try to learn how to do shit, because things can come easy to people, but they don't realize realistically that's not how it works for everyone.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's not what happened.
Yeah,
That's not
they
what
just
happened.
think it's. But granted, I don't necessarily blame them because that's what they see on the surface. They don't dig deeper. Again, they don't educate themselves
Yeah.
on how he got there. Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
and it's like, man, man. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just like how Pornhub is trying to, they're trying to cut out the middleman and all this other shit. And then what does that do? That maximizes opportunities for the performer, and then that also maximizes opportunities for the company, like fucking Pornhub. Like, they're like, hey, and then there's that. There's also that. So it's but when we're talking about like just as the the idea of capitalism, that's the objective, to capitalize. To capitalize on opportunities, and then that ties into innovation. How do we capitalize on being innovative in the realm of business and capital? Like, it's so many running parts to that shit. And you see it every day, where you just look around, you try to explain it to people, and they're just like, yeah, nah, man, like, nah, that shit's stupid. I'm like, dog, if you don't even understand that concept, yeah, that's why your business is gonna burn out in less than a year, among other reasons. But mm, Jesus, I need some more Jameson, because that was that was I needed that.
I kicked his fucking ass. Hell yeah, I'm gonna clip that.